me for that one. Oopsie. How I do that, how I make it so smooth and so clean. And I've been riding bikes since I was probably 7, 8 years old. And the trick, honestly, is to know your bike. If you don't know your bike, you're not going to be able to do much with it. I mean, sure, everyone can do a wheelie with a clutch, but to do it nice and do it long, you got to know your bike. Or at least know what the bike you're riding is going to be like. But my favorite, my most classic way to do it is the clutch up. So I'll roll in third because this thing is geared because it's got a bigger sprocket on the back, because this is what I built this bike for, is having fun doing stunts, and it's so light and you can kind of just throw it around. It's so easy. May as well. So, we'll go in here and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Okay, so a lot of people think that you have to rev it to like a billion RPM on these small bikes to get it up. And I mean, sometimes yes, most of the time no though. This bike has 9 teeth more on the rear sprocket and nothing else done to it besides crash cage and lights. My favorite way to do wheelies on this bike particularly is I'll roll it second at like 50, maybe 40. And I don't even have to get up off the bike, and I'll grab the clutch just a little bit and I'll give it a little buh. So let's say I'm rolling around at 3 and I want to do a clutch up. I'm going to lean back a little bit. Sorry. You're going to come into it a little bit, and as you lean back and you pull, you want to give your clutch just a little one of those, but don't let go of the bar. You don't have to pull it in with all your fingers and then let go of the whole thing. All you need is a couple fingers. So if you find that spot where your clutch starts engaging on your bars, you see how I got all this area and nothing's happening, but once I pass here, the bike starts taking off. That's all you need. So I like to start out in second, keep the clutch right about where that friction point is, and then give her a little, like one of those as you let the clutch out, and then just sustain that throttle that you've got, and you should be able to roll it through. So I'll show you how I mean. We'll do it real slow. Starting in second, we're going to roll at 20. I'm going to grab the clutch with 2, nice firm grip on the gas. And I'm going to clutch it up to about 3,500, and I'm just going to let that clutch out. And that's how I started doing wheelies. It doesn't have to be long, it doesn't have to be big, it just has to be consistent. Once you figure out where that clutch starts working and stops working, and you dial just little ones like that down, you can ride them out and you can sustain it. My favorite way to sustain the wheelie is by just giving it a little bit, a little like feather, a little kind of, just a little, it's the only way I can explain it. So, we're rolling in neutral right now. We'll click it up in a second. do a sitter. You see how it doesn't have to be big, but it brought it up and I set it down gently. You don't want to come up and then smash it down. You want to have a very consistent, smooth ride. You don't need to be going a million miles an hour. You can practice in a parking lot like this. They probably don't like me doing this here, but whatever, I'm not here very long. Anyways, you can start by doing that. If you're on a Gixxer or like an F4i 636, my favorite RPM and gear to do that, or a nice sit down wheelie in, is second gear. Roll at about 50k. It should be at about it should be at about 7,000 RPM, and all you got to do is that same action, just a little. So you see how I ran out of gear and then it smashed the front end down? That's not ideal for what you want to do, but that is a good example of how to bring it up in a sit down and then set it back down. My seat, my feet, my butt. My seat, my feet, my butt. My butt did not come off the seat that whole time. My feet stayed planted and the bike just came up under its own power. Another way that you can practice is, if you're on a Gixxer, hold that thought. What is that? What is that? That is awesome. What? Yo, she is ripping. That's wicked. Anyways, for small twin bikes, this is a CB 500. You can do it on a Ninja 400, a CB 250, CB 300. Any of those hot twin or little single thumpers, if you do a little bit of work to it and straight pipe it, throw a big sprocket on it, you can do wonders with it. This is my favorite bike to stunt with. This is my little 5. It's got a $400 cage on it, some lights, eBay exhaust, and some aftermarket rear sets. And, well, a wrap, but that doesn't have anything to do with this. Anyways, we're gonna go through the motions one more time. So I'm rolling in second, and if you don't have enough power in second when you're sitting down, you can stand up a little bit and get a little bit of a pull into it. And if you want to do a little bit of a pull, I recommend you roll in a parking lot at about 30 or so, maybe 20, 25, and just play with the clutch and see what you get out of it. See, when I did that, all I did was pull the clutch in with my finger, past the threshold a little bit, and just roll the gas on as I let the clutch out. And it doesn't take much. And that's not pulling up on the bike, it's just letting the clutch out and giving it a little bit of throttle. So if you go and you get good at that, watch my next video and I'll show you how to do stand-ups. Stand-ups are very fun. For anybody who doesn't know what a stand-up is, this is what it is. The stand-up is where you stand on the rear pegs of your bike and you get a solid stance. I like to start even slower than my sitters on the standard, and I can roll at 18, 19, and like 20-ish kilometers an hour in second. And all you got to do is that same movement, less throttle and less clutch. Well, same clutch, less throttle, and just a little push down on your feet, which will push all your weight from your hips onto your bike, and it will compress that rear suspension, bringing the front up, and then the torque from all of that will be directly transferred to your sprocket, so it'll lift your front up even more, and it makes it super easy. We'll do it at 15. See how much easier that is to do a stand-up than it is a sitter, and how much slower I went? When you do a stand-up, it's a lot less forgiving. So what you want to do, make sure that you know you have good gear, know you have a good bike, Know that your bike is made for what you're doing, or you have a spare in case you fuck that one up. And when you bring up your stand-ups, did you see how I gave it just a little, you just want to burp it up a little bit until you get to where you want, and then you let off, and then you catch it as it starts coming down with just a little bit of throttle, which will catch it and bring it back up, and you can just play with that through a little bit of threshold. Any of you that have played Mario Soccer on Nintendo 64 or GameCube or whatever, when you hit the ball and you did a power smash, it had that little little meter that would go back and forth, and if you hit the green, it hit the ball right in the goal. It's the same idea as playing with that. You got to keep it within the little tiny thresholds, and you'll keep your wheelie up and you'll keep your wheelie going. It's no problem. Show you one more time. So, like I said, find a flat surface. You see how this place is curved down? I like to find a line in the parking lot, and I like to try and ride that because I know that's going to be flat. So we're going to roll at 15, second gear, one finger on the clutch, the rest are on the bar, and just a little push down as you come up. So that you catch yourself more or less and kind of bring it down a lot more gentle than you would if you just let off and smashed it down. When you smash it down, you go through fork seals real quick and real fast. And when you go through fork seals like that, you also go through bushings, which ends up in the long run wearing your forks right out. So what you want to do is make sure that everything that you do, regardless of if it's a wheelie, a corner, taking off, stopping, applying your brakes, make sure that it's all smooth and it's all gradual. Because any kind of jerky movement can set you off balance, and can and will fuck your day up. So all you gotta remember is smooth is slow, and slow is fast. Because the slower and the smoother you do it, the faster you actually are.